Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. It just seems that the older we get, the younger we want to be. And so many of us, even if you're in your 20s, many are thinking about slowing down the aging process. How do we do that? One way is to turn toward Chinese medicine, which is what this wonderful woman practices. And that's everything from herbals to acupuncture, cupping, and so much more. We're going to slow down the aging process today with Dr. Kelly out of New York City. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Getting old.
We are all.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm intrigued. There's many things we hear about slowing down the aging process and staying healthy. I guess it starts with staying healthy. What's the first thing you suggest if somebody is thinking about just slowing down how fast they get older?
Yes, you are absolutely right. We should stay healthy first, then we can slow down the aging. So if you're not healthy, basically there are no way you can slow down the aging. But how to be healthy? So one thing is you have to have a good sleep, which means you need to go to sleep at a certain time, which is no later than 11 p.m. I know a lot of people, especially young people, or even like older people, they like to stay late somehow. But if you go to sleep later, you are actually fasten the aging process.
Wow. Okay. So question, what if a period in your life you didn't get a lot of sleep or your sleep was broken up, but then you eventually reset it so that you get a fair amount of sleep every night? What about all those years that you didn't get a lot, especially with young children, right? Um, how does that work? Have you already done some damage from not getting a lot of sleep over a period of years?
Yes, if you didn't have enough sleep or you slept way too late, you already damaged your body. I mean, your organ, like liver. Right? Liver peak time in Chinese medicine is 1 to 3 a.m. So you should already fall in deep sleep between 1 to 3 a.m. That's why I suggest people go to sleep no later than 11 p.m. In that way, at 1 a.m., you already fall in deep sleep. So your liver blood will get rejuvenated, your toxin will get out of your body, which is more healthier. If you didn't, which means your liver on a burden. So your liver blood didn't get rejuvenated, your liver qi get stagnate. You may have bad mood or liver qi stagnation. One sign of liver qi stagnation actually is depression. So a lot of young people, college kids actually, they have depression. The major cause is going to sleep late.
Wow. Wow. I would also imagine, and please enlighten us on this, eating late, like eating just before you go to bed, is probably not a good thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right again. So in Chinese medicine, we call it 胃不和则卧不安, means your stomach is not in harmony, then your sleep not gonna be peaceful. So if you going to eat a late dinner, then your stomach is still working to digest the food, then you're not gonna have a peaceful mind to fall in sleep. So that's why I usually eat before 7 p.m. So give me enough time to digest the food, then I go to sleep. But a lot of people, they like to have a late dinner or they enjoy the night time. So they have big steak plus some cold water or cold drink.
Mm.
Then they couldn't fall in sleep. So yeah, you're right. Going to eat a late dinner is bad for your sleep and bad for your health.
Well, many people talk about fasting, and whether that's you're comfortable with that or not, we all fast, every single one of us, or should, by sleeping. That's what breakfast is. Break the fast. So if you eat at, you know, right before you go to bed, let's say if you do go to bed at 11 o'clock, you eat something there and you wake up at, let's say 7:30, whatever time it is, you really didn't have a proper fast. And it's my understanding that your body is resetting, recharging, getting rid of toxins, all of that. If it's working overtime with food in it, it can't do the other stuff.
Yes, I agree with you. Like actually in Chinese medicine, even in some Taoist philosophy, there is one thing people think, how much food a person can eat or digest in their whole life is like certain, which means if you eat too much now, then you cannot eat later, which means you're shortening your life. So that's why actually a healthy meal you should like chew really chewing slowly, then you swallow, but not like just, kind of like dump the food into your mouth, into your stomach, and then you're like, okay, I finished my meal.
Be intentional about eating. Yeah, that's
So,
that's what I'm hearing from you. Like really take the time to eat. Plus, you'll feel full faster. While we're talking about fasting, what are your thoughts overall? Is it a good idea to occasionally do a fast? And by that, a friend told me that 16 hours, which if you include your nighttime sleeping, we should be 8. So let's say if you ate at I don't know, 5 o'clock, and let's say, 11 or 12 o'clock PM the next day, that would be your fast. What are your thoughts on fasting overall?
in general, I agree with fasting, but not for young kids, because
Okay.
young kids, they're growing so fast every day, every minute, every second, so they need the nutrition. So young kids, they don't need fasting, but for people who is over 30, especially for the people who don't go to gym very often. They are not active. They sit in front of computer for whole day, don't move at all. I think fasting can be beneficial to them, but of course you should do it slowly. Like when I first started the fasting, I did very slow. I didn't really like just follow the 16 8-hour rule on the first day. Like, I eat, I drink when I feel I need it. But later on, I feel like, oh, my body totally feel good.
Hmm.
And so then I basically follow the rule. Yeah, 16-8. Because, your body will feel nice. If you try, your body feel nice, which means your body needs it.
Well, isn't that we should sleep when we're tired and we should eat when we're hungry? As opposed to trying to fall asleep later, you might feel tired at 11 o'clock, go to sleep, but then many of us, man, I'm really no, I'm going to go on my phone again. I'm going to play a video game, and now it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Same thing with eating. If you're not eating when you're hungry. You're just eating because, well, it's time to eat. I should get something to eat. I don't believe that's the best thing for you because that's not what your body needs at that time.
Yes, and also try to stay away with food. Like, for example, I ate like before 6, right? But sometime after 6, after 7, there's food lying around on the table. I kind of like, that food is so yummy. Should I go to grab it? I can eat it, but I feel like it's not good for my body. So like I just walk away from the food. So it's not a tempting me.
Oh, I get it. I've gotten in the habit of, and this is only in the last month, and I have to break the habit, but later at night, call it 10 o'clock, 10:30. I'll walk into the kitchen, open the refrigerator, put a spoon in something, and just have, a little nibble here and there. And I know why I'm doing it. I know why I'm doing it. It's because I did spend many years um, waking up very early, and I would come home and take a nap just to make up sleep. And it was around lunchtime. So I would eat before I go to sleep during my nap, is what it is. Got to eat, got to have lunch. I was hungry. I think my brain is triggered into thinking, oh, you're going to go to sleep, grab something to eat because you did it for so many years. So I got to break out of that. It just creeped in recently. But we all know, we know what we shouldn't be eating and shouldn't be doing. Aging, anti-aging. How about some other tips?
Well, the other tip is exercise. When we pass age 30, we start losing muscle. So if you exercise, you will slow down the losing muscle process. In Chinese medicine, the organ spleen in charge of muscle. So basically, it's like your spleen is strong, then your muscle will be stronger, or you will have muscle. But if your spleen is weak, you will losing muscle, your muscle will feel weak, feel heavy. So when you doing exercise has some muscle, which in another way kind of like make your spleen a little bit stronger, or you make it slowing down the getting weakening process.
Hmm.
So I recommend everybody, but not like pregnant women or people who are really, had injury or something. Do some exercise. You don't have to like going running for marathon. You don't have to lift up heavy lift. You just do some sit up every day. Like that's what I do. I do some sit up every day, do some push up. Just need a yoga mat. You don't have to go to gym, paying the expensive fee. Have a yoga mat, doing some sit up, push up. You will see the difference. You will feel good. You will have the abs kind of, and your muscle, you can tell your muscle is not losing that much. So you look good and you are healthier. So doing some exercise, and when you can walk, don't get on the bus, don't drive. So walking is another very good way, just to exercise and not really heavy, don't need a lot of strength or power, not putting like any pressure on your joints. So exercise is another
Hmm.
tip.
I would imagine even going for regular walks is, let's say it's warmer out later in the day, for 45 minutes, just walking is a wonderful start, right?
Yes, yes. I used to jogging in Central Park,
Hmm.
but later on, one thing I getting too busy. Second thing is when you're jogging, you do put pressure on your joints. That's why a lot of runners they have knee pain or IT band, or hip pain, lower back pain. So running is putting some pressure on your joints. So that's why I said just walk. Walking is okay. Doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're not severe sick or something.
How about some other things? What can we do with an eye on Chinese medicine to slow down the aging process?
Another thing is eat properly. So eat properly is basically mean first that don't eat too much. So the amount,
Hmm.
you should control the amount. Second thing is eat the right food, the correct food you should eat.
So many of us, especially in this culture, just eat too much. You go to a restaurant and the portions are huge now. That's two meals, maybe two and a half to three meals. But we feel that, oh, I'm paying for it. I'm going to eat it. It's not the best thing for you. Take it home. I do it a lot. I enjoy it. Later on, having oh, I've got a second meal there. That's going to be good.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of time I mean I don't really go to restaurant that much anymore. But like before, when I went to restaurant, usually the appetizer already like fit me up. I couldn't eat the real course even. Don't even mention about dessert. So think about the people like go to restaurant, they have appetizer, they have the course, and then they have the dessert, then they have the drink. So that's exactly usually people overeat. And some people they don't even realize because when they drink some cold stuff, actually stomach kind of like not so sensitive. They don't feel they are full. They don't feel they are overeating. So that's why some people kind of like make a joke said, oh, the reason the restaurant give you ice cold water because they want your stomach is numbing, like don't feel anything. So you can order food, order dessert, keep eating.
Wow, I was not aware of that. Hmm, interesting. Um, on that point about drinking while you're eating, I've heard that you're not supposed to. Like when I take a bite, I usually take a drink. I've been doing that forever. And I'm hearing that maybe that's not the best thing that you should eat because when I'm trying to explain this to my understanding that when you have something to drink while you're eating, you're impeding the digestive enzymes and acids and everything and diluting them. And this is what I hear, you shouldn't drink while you're eating. What are your thoughts? Have you ever heard that?
Yes. But the point is, if you let's go back to the point I said, eat the correct food, the right food for you. But for example, you go to a restaurant, usually, I mean, in general, the food in the restaurant are over salted. They are too
Oh,
salty.
yes.
You're so thirsty there, you cannot even avoid to eat and drink because it's too much salt. But if you eat at home, you can put the proper salt so you're not thirsty when you eat. You don't have to
Ah.
eat one spoon and have a drink.
Yeah, I can tell you, I have not touched a salt shaker or put salt on anything I eat since I was 10 years old. I just don't do it. My father said, "What are you doing? Don't put salt on it. There's so much salt on it already." And ever since that day, even sugar, I don't add sugar to anything. And I really believe that you get in the habit of either using stuff or not. So I'm in the habit of not putting it on. I don't crave it. Sometimes I'm a little salt sensitive. If it's too salty, I'll eat it, but it's like, I didn't really need to be that salty. But like you say, you're in a restaurant. What are you going to do? Um, Dr. Kelly, you said that you don't eat at restaurants as often anymore. Kind of curious. Why is that? Is it a intentionally to be healthy and make something at home so you know what you're eating?
Yeah, that's the point. Because if you go to a restaurant, you don't really know their source of the material they're cooking for you, right? But if at home, you know, oh, where you bought the meat, where you bought the vegetable, right? You wash the vegetable, like everything, you know the quality is good. But in the restaurant, you don't know. They maybe use expired material, right? They maybe use some seasoning you don't even know, which is unhealthy. But because they in the restaurant, we all agree the food they cook is more delicious usually than what we cook at home because they put tons of seasoning over there. So you make it look like their food is more delicious. So in
Hmm.
that way, I don't really go to restaurants that often anymore. And at home, very simple. I put some vegetables, put maybe egg or meat. So I know what I'm eating.
Hmm. Um, If you can, then do it. Many of us either we don't cook. I'm not a cook. I admit it. I'm not a chef. Doesn't mean I can't do it. We can do anything we want if we put our mind to it. I just don't have the patience and the drive. So I have a lot of prepared meals that come from a place that I'm comfortable with, but I don't know everything that's in there. No one, you will never know if you get your foods, some prepared by somebody else. You will never know what's in it. You just won't. The only closest we can get is going to a farm stand, talking to a farmer, and feeling comfortable that no pesticides were being used, in a conversation. So I give you a lot of credit for preparing your own meals. Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, cooking at home doesn't mean you have to cook like a very fancy. Like for example, I just put, some water in a pot, to cut some vegetables, throw in the meat, then you can eat it. Doesn't really need too much time. I don't even put in oil because usually if you have meat, the meat already have fat,
Mm.
right? You have protein, you have vegetables, you have vitamins. So that's very essential to our body. So in that way, you eat healthily and doesn't cost you like a lot of time.
Oh, and money. Yeah, we can't ignore that, especially if you order, Uber Eats or DoorDash. My gosh, the fees that they put on top of that. And my daughter, likes things. She'll text me, "Can you order this? Can you get this for me?" I'm on the Dash Pass, which you pay a subscription for and you get reduced fees. It's still expensive. So yes, if you can make it at home, you're saving money, you're saving time, even waiting for the meal, and it's healthier. Got a couple of minutes left. Anything we're not seeing or we missed in terms of anti-aging?
One thing you mentioned about sugar and salt. So I agree with you. Sugar, actually, I don't think we really need sugar because, when we eat fruit, there are already sugar inside, right? If you eat bread or rice, there are sugar already inside. You don't really need extra sugar. Like if you eat a cake, right, there's sugar already inside. But the point is, our body, I think in human beings' nature, we kind of like attempt to the bad thing, kind of like, oh, there's sugar, I want to grab it. Other meals, even I'm not hungry, I try to grab it. So somehow to slow down our aging process, we have to do something kind of like against human nature. Like, oh, there's a cake. I'm not gonna touch it. But it's hard, right? It's very hard to don't reach your hand to a cake.
Oh yeah, and part of us, we work hard. We have some multiple jobs. You're doing so much. You say, yeah, I deserve it. Life is short. I'm just gonna have it today. Yeah, I'll start tomorrow. I'll go on a diet tomorrow. But yes, you're right. It is human nature for us to just say, just go for it. Why not? Yeah, it takes willpower. It takes the intention. But again, I really feel that when you get into a habit, if it's a good habit, it'll stick. Like not using salt, not using extra sugar, not craving sweets. I don't really crave them. I used to love a chocolate shake. I would get that every couple of months. That was just a comfort food. Every time I do it now, Dr. Kelly, I realize that it wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. Why did I do that? So being intentional, I think, is a good point. For anybody that wants to connect with you, certainly in New York City, where your office is and your practice, you can get things like acupuncture, cupping, and all of that. But we can reach out to you as well if we're not in New York City to consult on all this other stuff, Chinese medicine, even herbals, right?
Yes, they can call me at 347-885-1865, or they can email me at info@kelly121acupuncture.com.
And your website has a lot of information. You have so many 5-star reviews. Dr. Kelly, people love you. I love you. You're just so grounded, and just a reminder of we can be healthy if we just put our mind to it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Steve.
And everybody stay young. Don't touch the cake. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the mytuner-radio, online radio box, and simpleradio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's just going to be okay.